Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, all. So myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold 20 plus years of experience in different technologies. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes, all good.
Fine. Thank you. So as part of today's demo, I'll be covering the following things. Why Azure Data Engineer? Role of Azure Data Engineer. Azure Data Engineer, why time? Products or services. Yes. Why Azure Data Engineer? Right. Previously, we have got ETL technologies like Informatica, Talent, all this. Now we are going with this cloud technologies. So before that, what is a cloud? Sorry. Cloud majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering the data. It is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. And delivering data in various forms. Data engineers. Data engineers with the help of cloud services, with the help of cloud services, work on data, work on the data, make it structured and useful. Say, data engineers are data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination, right? So before I go with this, okay, advantages of cloud. Advantages of cloud over on-premises databases. Advantages of cloud over on-premises. So in the case of on-premises, right? In the case of on-premises, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, installation of database server, designing database objects, To maintain all this, right? If you want to maintain all this, we require separate teams. We require separate teams. Like what are the teams required? Like hardware team is required. Hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team. Yes. Finally, database administrators. Database administrators. But here, everything in cloud. But here, everything in the cloud, we no need to maintain all this. Here, everything in the cloud premises, right? Everything in the cloud. We need to maintain all this. No need of any infrastructure, no need of any licenses. Here, everything in the cloud environment. So I said data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to the destination. The data engineers, with the help of these cloud services, they work on the data, make it structured and useful. So data engineer, they're responsible for, observe here. Data engineer responsible for preparing the data, cleansing the data, that is filtering the data, transforming the data, and processing data. So it's responsible for preparing the data, transforming data, and processing data. We talk the difference between this data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Data scientist summarizes the past. In simple way, summarizes the past. The other side, data analyst is just, sorry, you can say like strategizes for the future. For the future, data scientist is going to strategize for the future, recommendations for the future. Data analyst is going to summarize the past. So data scientist is going to analyze the data, identify the patterns, and recommendations for the future. Analyze the data, identify the pattern, recommendations for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past, analyze the data, visualizing the data. So data engineer for preparing, cleansing, transforming, and processing data. Data scientist mainly for strategizing for the future. Data analyst for summarizing the past. Data engineer. Data engineer does all the groundwork. Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. More than 70%, more than 70% of data analysis work. Data engineers, right? Data engineers. So data engineering involves, one second. Yes, Bharat Kumar, right? Yes, you'll be getting the recordings. Yes, each and every recording you'll be getting it. Every day you'll be getting one recording. So here data engineering involves, firstly, what are the sources? What are the sources of data? Secondly, what is the format of the data? What is the format of the data? How to transform data? How to transform data, right? What is the destination? What is the destination of the data? That is what target. What are the sources of data? What is the format of the data? How to transform data? And what is the destination of the data? Yes. Why Azure Data Engineer? Why Azure Data Engineer? And why Azure Data Engineer is in demand today? Why Azure Data Engineer in demand? See, if I talk, okay, just check this example, right? An organization, it wants to increase the business by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. So the organization is using Azure for its operation. It hides two people. It is going to hire two people. Azure data engineer and a data scientist. Azure data engineer and data scientist. Azure data engineer first is going to create a data warehouse. Is going to create a data warehouse. A data warehouse is a storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, such as new user logs, clicks, existing customer data. So data engineer is going to structure this data, stores it, and monitors it in the data warehouse. Secondly, the Azure data engineer is going to constantly communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. He also communicate with the business team to understand the business requirements of the organization. He keeps in mind the business needs when dealing with the data in mind. The data scientists later they are going to analyze, they are going to create insights from the processed data of data engineer. So they require some dashboard tool for visualizing the key insights. Helps the team to read the data insights easily. So here data engineers, they're constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. He creates data pipeline. He creates data pipelines through which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. So he also makes sure that the pipeline is always secure and efficient, right? Without any data leaks or data exposures, right? This is the primary role of Azure data engineer. Yes, check it. Now, see the roles of Azure data engineer. Role of Azure data engineer. Designs the entire data flow architecture. Secondly, creating data warehouse. For storing of analytical data. ETL, extract, transform, and load. So extract, transform, and load. This is one of the key tasks of data engineers. They need to extract the data from multiple sources, transform it, transform it into structured and queryable data, and load the data into company's storage service for further business evaluation by the data scientist. And later, like data monitoring, data monitoring. Data monitoring, right? Data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way and the data is available anywhere it is required. And data security. It is also major responsibility of data engineer ensuring the data security. The data needs to be secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposure. And also already I said collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. Collaboration communication. They constantly communicate with the business team to check that data insights, collaborating with the data scientist necessary in delivering the data as per their needs or as per the requirement, right? Yes. Next, they need to have some analytical skills, analytics. So they need to have some strong analytical and mathematical skills to perform this kind of analysis. So major responsibilities of Azure data engineer, designing entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse, extract, transform, and load, data monitoring, data security, collaborating and communication and analytics. All right. Next. Azure data engineering. Azure data engineering products or services. Azure data engineering products or services, right? So like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory that we called as IADF, Azure Data, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. In a simple way, Azure SQL. Azure SQL is a cloud RDBMS. It simply says saying that cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. Azure SQL is a cloud RDBMS database. Azure Data Lake file system for storing files, that too distributed file system with unlimited storage. Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics, right? For big data operations, for data warehouse operations, for batch applications, for parallel processing, right? And Azure Data Factory in a simple way, in a single line, cloud-based ETL. It's a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft. Azure Databricks, Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Azure Cosmos DB in a single word. It's a NoSQL database, cloud-based NoSQL database. Similar to MongoDB, we have got Cosmos DB. Azure Streaming, analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Azure Key Vault, secure key management to protect the data in the cloud, right? In a simple way, in a simple line, I discussed these things. Mostly Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Streaming. These three will be our major discussion in our course. Like Azure Data Factory. I'll start with this. Next, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics. But as an ADF developer or a Databricks developer, right? A Synapse developer, right? As a data engineer, you are going to interact with Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB, and streaming. Yes. So as part of this course, right, I'll be Azure Data Engineer, ADA. I'll come back to this course content. Azure Data Engineer, right? Yes. Azure Data Factory is going to be Azure Data Factory, starting with Azure Data Factory. It is a zero coding ETL. Zero coding ETL. No need of writing any single line code. Totally drag and drop. The entire ADF, you won't see any line. And there is no prerequisites for this. Azure Data Factory. So you can step into the company as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, Azure Data Engineer. But you see, like huge salary packages are great boom if you got knowledge on this Azure Data Bricks, and if you can see more calls if you got this knowledge on Azure Data Bricks, and that too with a combination of PySpark, especially this PySpark. Spark is the main execution engine, right? With a very high rate of speed, processing huge data, right, in quick time. So especially this Azure Databricks with PySpark, right, especially has got great demand in today's market. Lot of calls you see for these things, and also for even for Synapse Analytics. Synapse Analytics. So mainly my discussion is going to be on these three: Azure Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, and Azure Synapse Analytics. As part of the course, right? Not a like a overview of PySpark. In brief, PySpark will be discussed in brief, right? Right. And apart from this, as you'll be interacting with the other services, you'll be giving knowledge on this. We'll be getting the knowledge on other components like Azure SQL. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, streaming. So yes, for data today, like in the industry, right? For data engineering, the Azure cloud is mostly preferred as Azure is the cheapest and provides more number of regions. So mostly we go with Azure Data Engineer, right? For data engineering things. Yes. So if you see that course content, what I'm going to discuss as part of this, check with this. Azure Data Factory, starting with the first overview about all these resources, Azure Data Factory, Databricks, Azure SQL, Key Vault, Azure Synapse, Azure Cosmos DB, and Azure Streaming. And Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? Azure Data Factory architecture, Azure Data Factory portal, top level components like pipelines, activities, linker services, data sets, triggers, data flows, integration runtimes, pipeline. What is a pipeline? Creating a new pipeline, organizing pipeline, debugging pipeline, publishing pipeline parameters, linker service. What is a linker service? Creating a linker service for blob, SQL database, SQL server, data lake storage, data sets. What is a data set? Creating a data set for Avro file, binary file, CSV file, Excel file, JSON file, ORC, Parquet, XML, blob, ADLS, a stable in SQL database for activities, different types of activities, filter activity, wait activity, copy data activity, get metadata activity, um, delete activity, yes, and iterations and conditions like for each, if condition, switch, until, triggers, different ways of trigger scheduling, right? How to schedule the pipelines. Scheduling means like schedule triggers, tumbling window triggers, storage events triggers, integration runtime, auto resolve integration runtime, Azure managed virtual network, self-hosted, linker self-hosted, source control, ARM templates, right? For all this. Global parameters, credentials, manage private endpoints, monitoring ADF jobs, alerts, send failure notifications using logic application, data flows, right? What is a data flow? Mapping data flow debug, transformations, filtering, aggregations, conditional split, exit, union, lookup, sort, group by, pivot, flatten transformations, filter, flowlet, validate schema drift, slowly changing dimensions. Azure Data Factory means here I'm going to discuss slowly changing dimensions, SCD type 1, type 2, and nearly around 50 exercises I'll be discussing as part of this course. So copy activity from copying from different environments, and bulk copy, how to integrate Key Vault in ADF, copy data from on-premises to Azure cloud, tumbling window trigger, event-based trigger, schedule trigger, filtering the rows, join transformation, union, lookup, pivot, SCD types, how to create alerts and rules, set global parameters, ADF with the, yes, implementing pipelines in Azure, monitoring the pipelines, debugging the pipelines, scheduling pipeline using triggers. Azure Databricks. Next is the other major important for Azure Databricks. So what are the prerequisites for this Databricks I'll be discussing, right? So big data, introduction to the, I'll be providing the knowledge on introduction to this big data, introduction to Hadoop, introduction to Spark. Before I go with Azure Databricks, Azure Databricks architecture, Azure Databricks concepts like getting Databricks workspace, Databricks adding the users in groups, creating cluster, getting started with notebooks and jobs, configuring cluster, managing cluster, displaying cluster, starting a cluster, terminating a cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster information, cluster logs, cluster access control, types of cluster, all-purpose cluster, job cluster, Databricks without pools, Databricks with pools, standard high concurrency, auto scaling, Databricks utilities, credential utility, data utility, file system utility, job utility, library utility, notebook utility, secret utility, widget utility, limitations of utilities. Databricks integration with blob storage, Azure Data Lake, Azure SQL database with Synapse and Snowflake. Databricks handling multiple file formats, CSV data, JSON data, Parquet files, Excel files, XML files, ORC file, Avro file, Databricks batch processing, historical data load, incremental data load, date transformations, aggregations, join operations, window functions, union operations. Databricks streaming API. What is streaming and handling back reports, stream data into GenLake, load the data into tables, Databricks Lakehouse, difference between data lake and Delta Lake, introduction to Delta Lake, features of Delta Lake, creating Delta Lake, Delta tables, DML operations, SCD type 1, type 2, handling data deduplications, workflows in Databricks, introduction to workflows, can run and manage Databricks jobs, schedule Databricks jobs, monitor Databricks jobs, Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse Analytics overview, Azure Synapse, creating free account for this Synapse, dedicated SQL pools, serverless SQL pools, Apache Spark pools, Data Explorer pools, creating Azure Synapse Analytics workspace, exploring Azure Synapse workspace and studio, creating view for CSV data with serverless SQL pool. Azure storage account integration with Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse triggers, event-based triggers, Azure SQL database integration with Azure Synapse, incremental load to Azure Synapse, incremental load or delta load, multiple table incremental load. Okay, logging and notifications, deep dive into copy activity, data flows for filter, join, union, lookup, pivot, alter rows, Spark pool introduction in this Azure Synapse, magic commands, configure different ways of connecting to this Gen 2 Synapse, different ways to connect with the Azure SQL database, on-premise SQL server, reading and writing CSV files from Azure Synapse, Parquet files, JSON files, Avro files, Excel files, when to use repartitioning in Coalesce, what is Catalyst Optimizer, and implementing SCD type 1, type 2 in this. So in brief about this Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, and PySpark. Yes, even performance optimization techniques I'll be discussing, right? Yes. Do we get okay? Yes. So apart from this PySpark, and also you'll be given knowledge on this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Streaming, right? So coming back, so these are the four things, four topics will be discussed in brief. So the duration will be around 3 months. We'll be discussing, but if you want to complete faster than that, so whenever first data factory is going on, whenever I start any Databricks batch of this, you can attend parallelly, or even if any Synapse Analytics batch is started. If you're attending parallelly, you can complete within around 2 months. Yes. So what is the offerings from my side? live each and every live session video. Means every day the session, right? You'll be getting live session video. Soft copy of the notes. Soft copy of the notes. Assignments and tasks to work. A WhatsApp group. If you get any errors, you can take the snap of that errors and just post in the WhatsApp group. Yes, I'll be just all the sessions. Interactive live sessions. So yes, you can do hands-on. Everything means you can do parallel along with me during the sessions, working with that developing pipelines activities. Interview questions and answers. Yes. So even if you miss any session, you can go through the session and attend the next session for the better understanding, clear notes of this, what all we discuss, assignments and tasks in the WhatsApp group, right? This is so tomorrow also everyone can attend the session same time at 5 o'clock using the same link to see more discussion on it. I'll be briefing you much on this Azure data engineering. So that I forgot to say the timing of this batch. Let me make it clear about the timing of this batch. First week it will be at 5 p.m. it starts, 5 to 6. Later, it will be at 6 p.m. For first 1 week to 10 days, it will be at 5 p.m. Later, it will be at 6 p.m. up to the end of the course. Before you go with the payment process, and just making it clear about the timing. Yes. Any other queries from your side? You can just go ahead with you can unmute yourself and you can ask your queries, or you can type your queries in the chat, right? Yes.
So regarding the timings, so 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. is fine, but anything before that I cannot make. So do you think anywhere in the future, like you will prepone the sessions?
No, nothing.
Okay,
Five,
so 5,
you will
yes,
be
5.
having it. First 1 week only, you will be having 1 week to 10 days, it will be at 5 p.m. Later, it will be starting at 6 only.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay. And do you cover fabrics also in this anywhere in this part?
So just introduction to fabrics I'll be providing. Already we are
Okay,
doing, yes.
okay, sir. Okay, yeah,
So
I'm good. Thank you.
majorly discussed with these things. Takes a lot
Right.
of time for this, right? Azure Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, and this Synapse
Mm-hmm.
and PySpark.
Okay. And as a general question, like many people suggest me like Databricks is more than fine and we don't need a Synapse analytics. Is that the case? Because both are looking similar features and everything looks similar to me. So what do you say about that, sir?
Hmm. See, Synapse Analytics is advanced to that. Synapse Analytics means it's a combination of all this, everything. Single stop solution for all this means it will have this Azure Data Factory pipelines you can create here, Azure Databricks notebooks you can create here, and all that everything at a single place. Here, you need to open a lot of windows working with this. If Databricks wants to communicate, means the input is taken from a data lake file system. It wants to communicate with Azure SQL. If Databricks means it has to open multiple, but here in Synapse Analytics, everything you can see there in a single place. So if you have got the knowledge on this, means Synapse Analytics is not a big thing for you.
Okay, so it depends upon the employer what they choose, right?
Yes, so if they mention that in the job role, right? Databricks Synapse, right? If you have got knowledge on these things, the Synapse Analytics, you can understand simple, easier, how you can use the tool.
Got it. Okay, sir. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
So yes, coming to this, right? So I was uh 1 second, just a second. Okay. So here job market of Azure data engineer, right? See the Azure data engineer job market, right? So today, if you see the job market, if we say according to Microsoft, every year lakhs of companies are getting registered with Azure. More than 95% of this Fortune 500 companies are utilizing this Azure cloud services. So they in turn increasing the number of job opportunities for Azure data engineers, right? Constantly. So even if you see the companies are adopting Azure, they're shifting to Azure and already utilizing it regularly in need of professionals who work on this Azure and handling huge data, big data, right? Yes. Even if you talk about the pay scales also, this data engineers has got the highest average salary as closely as data scientists. So the two highest paying jobs, data engineers and data scientists, right? So even if you see, if you go even the salary packages for this data engineers as compared with other technologies, right? It will be huge packages, means 1.5 times more than the other technologies. If you have got a good technical skills, if you have got command on this, you can demand for the salary, right? Yes. Someone was asking a query, right? Yes. Yeah, someone was asking query, right? So there are many companies, right? Even companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all they're hiring data engineers with us great salary packages. Even tech giants, including Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, and all others are offering high-paying jobs for this data engineers, right? Yes. Any other queries, right? Any other queries? Tomorrow you can attend the session same time at 5 o'clock using the same, right? To see more on this data engineering services, right? So during the session, at any point, you can ask the query whenever we are discussing, right? You can, at any point, you can just ask the query. And whenever we do the practical part, for each and every statement I type, you should be responding what is the output for it. How do you have the hands-on session, right? So, so parallelly, you can do along with me. So whenever we are developing pipelines, creating notebooks, all this, you can do parallelly. And even now, okay, subscription, you can get free subscription for Azure, right? Can some services are free for lifetime, some are free for 1 year, some are free for 1 month. So how to get the Azure free trial, free subscription, I'll be discussing. But once your subscription is elapsed, how you can go with the minimal, so very minimal charges, how you can work with the practical parts, I'll discuss. So you need to have some knowledge on that, how to use that subscription. Sometimes people without any knowledge keep on working, keep on doing the practicals, but it's a huge bill is going to be piled out. You'll be getting a huge bill. So every time after practice, what you need to do, what you need to delete, and to get the minimum bill of everything for this practice work, right? I'll just brief you, right? So for these things, especially for Azure Databricks, these kind of things, right? So if you do along with me parallelly, you'll understand much better because a lot of configurations you'll be doing if you want to get data from some resource, right? So we need to create some principles, some secrets, everything we need to do that, right? Yes. Yeah. So 100% you'll understand whatever we discussed, right? So all that step by step we discuss. Yeah. Any other queries, right? Yes. Yes. Tomorrow and after tomorrow also people can attend the session to see more discussion of this. Tomorrow and after tomorrow also people can attend, right? To see more discussion and later we can pay the fees. Next 2 days. Yes. Bharat Kumar, right? Next 2 days we can attend the sessions. After that, the link will be changing, right? You need to get enrolled for it. Okay, fine. So I'm done with the queries. If there are no other queries, then I'm signing off for now. Meet you tomorrow, same time at 5 o'clock. Thank you all for your time. Thank you.